That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Alright, so I'm here in Pattalong right now, staying at a national park. It's a beautiful national park. And right at our accommodations, we've already found probably over 8 or 9 snakes. And already on this trip, I've only been here for probably 4 days with these guys, and we've caught around 20 snakes. So I think that's a pretty good start. We're still hunting for this red-headed krait. We haven't found any krait of any kind. There's a lot of different types of kraits in Thailand, and I've already found the Red River krait, which was a pretty big milestone for me, but the red-headed krait, that is definitely something I've always wanted. So we're still hunting, we're still searching. Tonight we saw a massive reticulated python by a river earlier, and we've probably gotten, 8 snakes already tonight. So I'm back at the accommodation. Behind me, we've got a really nice little river, and I'm just walking this river really slowly, looking for any sign of a banded krait, a Malayan krait, a red-headed krait, any kind of krait. That would make my night. So I'm still on the hunt, but here in Pattalong, it is beautiful rural place in southern Thailand, and my hopes are up. We've seen a lot of snakes moving tonight, so I'm just gonna keep going. We'll see where this is at. We got one more night here. Really try and track down this red-headed krait. I'm confident we can get it. You know, it is one of those snakes that you really have to get at least once in your life, so I'm excited for it. But overall, this trip has been pretty awesome, staying here in the national park. There is no warm running water. It is just cold, so cold showers in the morning. It is an experience. So stay tuned. We're gonna get this krait.
Just like in Satun, Pattalong hadn't had any rain come for a while, so we decided to pick a campsite near a body of water, which in this case was a slow-flowing river. We knew our best chances were going to be near the water, and the first animal I found was a striped snakehead. So this fish can actually breathe air and move in between bodies of water whenever it wants. The area around the river and our campsite turned out to be a really interesting habitat. We were optimistic about finding a snake here because there were shrubs, leaf litter, and a lot of spaces in between tree roots that we were anticipating either prey or snakes to be hiding. It didn't take long for us to find our very first snake. This is a Laotian wolf snake. These are very aggressive predators that come out at night to eat frogs, lizards, and geckos, and we're going to find a lot of these on this trip. But this is the very first snake of the night, and we were starting to get more optimistic because kraits do eat these for food.
You good with them?
Yeah. You get something?
Even though our campsite was relatively well developed, nature didn't seem to care. There were tons of insects out, moths, the cicadas were actively breeding and flying around, and we even ran into a bunch of these bronze sun skinks. These were some pretty big, fully grown sun skinks. Another really interesting animal we came across was the hammerhead worm. So the hammerhead worm is an active predator that hunts down earthworms. Recently, hammerhead worms have been found with tetrodotoxin in them as well, which is the same toxin that's found in pufferfish. The next snake we found is probably one of the most beautiful snakes in Thailand, in my opinion. So this is the ornate flying snake, and it actually does fly. It flattens out and glides between trees and buildings whenever it's trying to escape from a predator, and it's pretty neat to watch.
You're good.
The snake is diurnal, which means it's not really active at night. You're most likely going to find this sleeping in corrugated roofing than you are up in the trees. It's a really interesting snake, and pretty much every time I've run into it has been in corrugated roofing and roof tiles. One really interesting thing I found was a spider that was infected with a fungus, wrapped itself up on a leaf high up, and the fungus sporulated, which means it released spores, raining down on a nest of spiders underneath, which is kind of creepy. One of the more common diurnal snakes in Thailand is Oriental whip snake, and you can sometimes see them sleeping high up in trees by looking underneath. Their bellies are going to be a lot brighter colored than the surrounding foliage, so they're pretty easy to spot. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I've kept these as pets in the past. They're pretty awesome snakes, and mildly venomous, but the bigger ones rarely bite.
You found a bigger one?
Yeah. Slightly bigger.
The next animal that we came across was a Pool's parachute gecko, otherwise known as a flying gecko. This gecko has some really neat adaptations that allow it to essentially glide between trees or objects, either running away from predators or chasing after something. Along its sides are flaps of skin that expand into what essentially look like wings that catch air in flight. And the tail is flattened out to allow for some extra maneuverability and precision while it's gliding. These geckos were a lot more abundant than I expected, but then again, we were in flying gecko territory down in the south of Thailand. And also, their camouflage was pretty crazy, so I'm assuming there were a lot more than we found.
Look at that. Good spot, Michael.
Yeah, if we this is gonna be cool if we can get him to do that defensive posture. Very nice.
Do you want a hand up?
This next snake that we caught was a Jody's pipe snake. This is actually the very first snake I've ever caught in my life, probably around 22 years ago. And I've actually never seen one in person since, so this was a pretty neat moment. Another snake that we had our eye out for was a checkered keelback. JP and I had caught one late last year, and we've been looking for a new one ever since. And JP actually spotted a checkered keelback sitting by the riverbank here, but unfortunately, we lost the snake.
Coming across.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Just in here.
How big was it?
As it got later into the night, we started running into a lot more snakes. This is a baby mangrove cat snake, and they grow a lot larger than this. I also ran into some rice paddy eels. These look like snakes from a distance, but they're actually eels. They're fish. They eat the same things as the water snakes, and they sit in the same exact spot, but they never come out of the water. This river system turned out to be great for frogs, toads, and skinks, which the smaller snakes are eating. So I knew if we were going to find a krait that chases after these small snakes, this would probably be the ideal spot. Now you might think this is a common krait because of the white and black banding, but unfortunately these lookalikes are just wolf snakes. They're a little bit difficult to tell the difference between these and kraits, but if you watch how it moves, it'll start to make sense. I know this is not a joke. The spider literally has such a bland taste in music that they named it after David Bowie. One weird thing about tokay geckos is they like bathrooms. I found them in tons of outdoor bathrooms. If you're looking around for tokay geckos at night, just go to any abandoned bathroom and I guarantee you'll find one. These geckos also bite really hard and don't let go. I have some scars from my childhood from some of these geckos, so just be careful handling them. We were all pretty satisfied with how productive our campsite at Pattalong turned out to be, and we decided to change the habitat we were going to target tonight. So we were looking at Google Maps and found a canal system that was a little bit further west of our campsite and decided to cruise the roads later and see what we could find.
Thank you. Thank you.
Slowly cruising the roads at night, looking for snakes crossing the road, might seem really boring, but honestly here in Thailand, this has proven to be the most productive way of finding really cool snakes. For example, we've only been road cruising for probably 30 minutes at this point. We already ran into this really nice radiated rat snake. These snakes are pretty neat because their bite is pretty much painless. They don't really have that many teeth. They like to try and intimidate you. They try and hood up and puff up and strike at you. And if that doesn't work, they eventually just roll over and play dead. So they're pretty neat, and they do get pretty sizable too. So it was a nice find seeing this cross the road.
It might not be a snake. I wasn't convinced, but it's on the yellow line.
Most pit vipers in Thailand don't do a whole lot of damage. Deaths are really uncommon, and a lot of these green pit vipers end up giving you something similar to a bee sting. However, the Malayan pit viper is a lot different. These can result in some serious injuries and hospitalizations, and they're also really difficult to see hiding among the leaf litter. I think these vipers look awesome, and it's really neat seeing them cross the road like this. Like I said, road cruising is pretty productive.
There was that big bank on the side. I was like, oh, I'll just gently run down it.
We finally got to the canal system, and this was a pretty good place for us to herp. Within the first maybe 20 minutes, we ran into what looked to be a 10-foot reticulated python, and unfortunately I did not have my camera rolling. It was sitting right on the riverbank, and once it saw us, it dove into the water and was gone within seconds. But besides losing that giant snake, we did start running into a lot more of the water snakes that we've been seeing recently. So the very first one that I came across, unfortunately I waited too long and lost it, but this was either a dog-faced water snake or a rice paddy snake. I couldn't really tell because its head was hiding under a leaf, but yeah, I missed the snake. Wish I could have gotten a better look at it.
One of the in-situ stuff.
No. Okay, he's gone. That's a good spot though.
We did manage to catch one water snake in these canals, and it was a puff-faced mud snake. This snake looks a lot like the Cox's water snake, but it's a completely different species. And this seemed a lot more docile than a Cox's water snake. Those tend to bite and draw blood pretty quickly, so this was a neat find. The very last animal of the night turned out to be a buffalo leech. This is the biggest leech I've ever seen in my life. I found it in the water, which was pretty crazy. You definitely don't want to swim in any of the canals here in Thailand.
Yeah.
Dude.
Man.
Which is its head? Like it's reaching out here,
His head
but
is that bit, yeah.
this?
No, that bit.
This is huge.
Yeah. Look at that.
Wait, I don't know. No. I think
No.
no. This got me. There's teeth here.
Piece of wood there.
This just got me.
Like just
There might be a little spike on there, but I'm sure that's the head. That's the blood-sucking bit.
If you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to like what's coming next. We explore some of the cave systems here in Phatthalung and catch some pretty crazy snakes and animals in these caves. So stay tuned, it's going to get really interesting.